Good afternoon, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, in my contemplative time, I was very much drawn into the contemplation of knowledge versus wisdom. And I also, as you know, or many of you do know, I'm very drawn to poetry these days. And so it's not surprising to me at all that when I was looking for the quotations to share with you today, I came across these ones that I thought were very poetic, and I hope that you will find them beneficial today. This first quotation that I came across is by Swami Chinmayananda, and it says, "The nectar in a flower is always secreted in its innermost chambers. The nectar of a flower is always secreted in its innermost chambers." And I just love that. And I want us to understand, and I'd love to help you understand, how knowledge is a bit different than wisdom. So, knowledge is learning information about anything and learning it, hearing it, learning it, and reading it, right? Anything that we're learning some information, that's knowledge. And then when we are applying it through experience, that's wisdom. So, of course, a lot of people will go through school and teachers will say, oh, wait till you're out in the real world. Or sometimes parents will say to kids, wait till you have a job or something like that, right? There will be this, there's a knowledge, there's an awareness that a person has learned knowledge, but it doesn't mean that it's turned into wisdom yet, right? So we can look at something very, very simple like kids learning math. And until they're first giving change, for example, if they're working in a retail store and giving change to a customer, they're not actually putting that knowledge into a wisdom of their life experience, right? Very simple. And again, that's happened for all of us or most of us. And then we also think about when someone reads a quotation like this, what's the space that they're coming from? What is the level of knowledge and experience and wisdom of the person who's hearing a quotation like this? And if we say that a teenager reads this quotation, right away we can recognize that that person is going to have high hormones in their body, and they might think this is quite a sexual quotation, right? Now, some adults might think this too, depending on where their mind is at that time, right? At the same time, someone who works with the heart might be thinking about the innermost chambers of the heart, right? That, wow, there's all these arteries and there's all these different sections of the heart. This is where all the blood is flowing to and from, and all of that might be going through their mind because that's their perspective, right? There's another person who might be working with hormones and might be thinking about thyroid hormones and ovarian hormones and hormones from the prostate and how it helps the entire body, that the innermost chambers are releasing these hormones and helping the body, right? Then we can also think about our communication with each other, where people can, from a knowledge base, learn about a person's name. They might learn about their occupation, their age, their height, their weight. And it's so superficial, right? And then another person might want to learn the essence of a person. And that's true communication with understanding this person is like this. These are the innermost chambers of this person's thought process, this person's feelings, this person's experience that has led them to be who they are. And that's a beautiful space of connection between people. It happens between, we'll say, even teachers and students, right? So when teachers are understanding this is what this child is going through at home, this is how I connect with this child and their vulnerabilities here. Or another child might have physical concerns. And this is the awareness that whether a parent or an instructor, a teacher, or a friend is looking through eyes of wisdom and compassion at that person, they interact differently. And we can all do that with each other, right? So that was the first quotation. The next one I came across is by Gautama Buddha, and I love this quotation too because it says, "As the bee collects nectar and departs without injuring the flower, or its color or fragrance, so let the sage dwell on earth." I love that. And again, when we think about this is that depth, right, of understanding that our own actions also are affecting people around us. And when we are interacting, even when we're learning about deeper things about each other, there's a certain vulnerability that has been exposed, we'll say. But just like a bee is so gentle from flower to flower, that's how we would want to interact with people, right? Is with that gentleness, that kindness, that consideration, no matter who we are interacting with. That is in this quotation about how the sage would dwell on earth. I would say that each of us has that higher consciousness in us, and we can also dwell in the same way. And then finally, before I get to the final quotation, I would like you to think about what kind of things have you learned knowledge about and gained knowledge, and what have you utilized from your knowledge to move into wisdom through your life experience? And how is that benefiting you and the people around you? So, just one thing, if you can think about, I learned this, and this is how this allows me to apply that knowledge into a wisdom from my actions in the day. And so I'd like to finish with a final quotation by Rumi, and you know he's one of my favorites. So here is this quotation, which says, "If the foot of the trees were not tied to earth, they would be pursuing me, for I have blossomed so much, I am the envy of the gardens." Isn't that beautiful? And imagine that in this poetic way, this author is writing, this poet is writing about when we're feeling that essence flowing from us, this divine energy that flows, and we feel that even nature is feeling it around me, that it would chase me because it knows just how satisfying this space is, or this energy is that flows from me. How beautiful is that, right? And isn't that the feeling that we would love to leave each interaction with, right? I certainly would. And I can tell you that I believe that a lot of people would feel the same way. And some of us put more a mindful intention into leaving that experience for people, and others maybe less mindfully so, but also happy if it happens. Today, maybe you can be consciously mindful about when you leave someone in that space. And I hope that you leave at least your own mind in that space by understanding how your knowledge has turned to wisdom and how you utilize it for interactions with the world around us. I wish you a fabulous day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.